Part 85. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 841. The huge explosion startled everyone present. They all looked up at the sky. The small fighter plane driven by Wang Feng was hit by something and exploded directly, turning into a blazing fireball. It was falling rapidly, and the wreckage of the plane was scattered from time to time in the middle. The situation in front of them shocked everyone on the scene. Wang Feng could be said to be their backbone now. They had just entered the exclusive channel, which was the ancient channel in the legend. They had not yet reached the original star. Could it be that Wang Feng had fallen like this? However, when everyone saw a figure floating in the air, the stone in their hearts fell to the ground, because that figure was Wang Feng. Although they didn't know how this guy survived the explosion of the small fighter plane, at least they could confirm that he was still alive. For everyone in the Hope Expeditionary Force, this was enough. At this time, Wang Feng was staring blankly at the wreckage of the small fighter plane. Just now, when Wang Feng drove the small fighter plane into the sky, a piece of information suddenly entered his mind. In the ancient passage, the area above 100 meters above the ground is a restricted air zone. When this information entered Wang Feng's brain, a strong sense of crisis quickly enveloped Wang Feng. He didn't even think about it, and didn't even have time to open the cabin of the fighter plane. He directly summoned the Xianyuan sword, and then slashed the cabin of the small fighter plane with one sword. Then, Wang Feng flashed and rushed out from the hole opened by the Xianyuan sword. Almost at the same time, the small fighter plane exploded and turned into a big fireball. Fortunately, Wang Feng is now strong and he dodged in time, so he didn't suffer any damage. However, what he is thinking about now is what hit his small fighter plane. Although the incident happened too hastily just now, Wang Feng still felt that his small fighter plane was not attacked by any external forces, but exploded directly without any signs. Such a strange attack method made Wang Feng feel frightened. Obviously, the small fighter plane driven by Wang Feng just now exceeded 100 meters above the ground and entered the so-called no-fly zone, so the explosion occurred. Fortunately, he got the information prompt. Although Wang Feng did not have time to stop because the speed of the small fighter plane was too fast, at least he escaped. As for the loss of a small fighter plane, it was not a big deal for Wang Feng. In addition to the small fighter plane he asked for from Gao's Hixing, there are tens of millions of fighter planes in the Yanhuang now. Losing such a fighter plane is not a big deal. But for Wang Feng, he now has some fear of the mysterious creature that controls all this in secret. At least, Wang Feng can be sure that if the mysterious power that caused the small fighter plane to explode instantly was not aimed at the small fighter plane, but acted on him, he would have no way to defend it anyway. Fortunately, at least Wang Feng himself was not hurt, and he also knew that there was a restricted air zone in the ancient passage. As long as his flying height did not exceed 100 meters, there should be no problem. Although the mysterious power was very strong, it seemed that it would not take the initiative to attack as long as it did not break the rules. What Wang Feng did not know now was whether there were any other taboos in the ancient passage besides this restricted air zone. It was a pity that he did not ask the Luke tribe when he met them. It was probably impossible to find them now. Everyone, please pay attention. Above 100 meters in the air, it is a restricted air zone. Don't enter. Wang Feng said loudly. Although Wang Feng himself was the only one who could fly by his body in the Hope Expeditionary Force, all the soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force were constantly absorbing the chaotic energy. Who knew if someone would suddenly complete the awakening? When their strength was improved, they might also be able to fly by their own bodies. Flying should be an ability that all humans want to master. Once someone gets this ability, they must try it immediately. If they are not reminded, someone else will get excited and want to try how high they can fly, which will be a tragedy. Of course, no one dared to ignore Wang Feng's warning, and they all nodded to show that they knew. Wang Feng looked at the wreckage of the plane that had fallen on the ground, sighed softly, then landed on the ground and walked towards the jungle. Since there is danger in the air, it is better to move forward on the ground. It just so happens that Wang Feng can also collect some life energy by the way. Although Wang Feng does not lack this now, it is always better. After entering the original star, I don't know if there is a place to replenish life energy, so accumulating more now can be regarded as preparation for the future. After entering the jungle, there were no monsters in the section just after entering the jungle because of the Hope Expeditionary Forces clearing, so Wang Feng's speed was also very fast. However, after entering 1 kilometer, the Hope Expeditionary Force began to appear in front of Wang Feng. This is also the progress of the Hope Expeditionary Force in clearing the jungle, just a little more than 1 kilometer. They have now entered the ancient passage for more than 10 hours. This progress can be said to be quite slow. However, Wang Feng didn't care. They were not in a hurry anyway, and they hoped that the expeditionary force would be cleaning up a large area, not just clearing a safe road in the jungle. However, in the jungle, it seems that only animals attack people. There is nothing abnormal about the trees and plants. This is somewhat good news. Quickly surpassing the Hope Expeditionary Force, Wang Feng began to go deep into the jungle alone. At this stage, the monster's strength was not very strong. He could completely deal with it alone, and Qiu Jian, Xiao Wu, number 7 and other guys could also deal with it. All of them went deep into the jungle alone. While advancing, Wang Feng casually killed some monsters that rushed towards him. Wang Feng seemed very comfortable in this dangerous jungle. However, as Wang Feng progressed, he also felt changes in the monster. The first is the type. Now the monsters have slowly changed from the earliest snakes, or insect monsters such as beetles and spiders, to animals. Some animals that look like canines or felines still appear in Wang Feng's sight. Of course, the strength of these monsters is much stronger than the previous monsters, but for Wang Feng, these larger monsters are easier to deal with. Because he was mainly exploring paths, Wang Feng did not activate his blast power. Although he did not lack life energy now, he could not waste it. Every little bit he could save was worth it. Puff. After killing a monster that looked a bit like a wolf with a sword, he casually took its body into the Xianyuan space. Wang Feng looked in front of him and frowned. This was already 4 hours after Wang Feng entered the jungle. Wang Feng had been advancing in a straight line, but except for the increase in the number and strength of monsters, Wang Feng did not encounter any other changes. Even the scenery in the jungle looks the same. Trees more than 10 meters high, plants about 1 meter high, plus various monsters are all the creatures that make up this jungle. Wang Feng looked back at the path he had taken, feeling a little hesitant in his heart. He didn't know whether he should continue moving forward or whether he should go back first to see if Duanlei and the others had awakened their abilities because of the energy of chaos. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng felt that he had better move on. He hoped that Duanlei and Lu Feng would take care of the expeditionary force. Besides, their location was a safe zone, so there was probably no danger. As for whether anyone has awakened the ability of hair, I will naturally know this after I go back. The most important thing now is to find a way to enter the original star first. Wang Feng didn't know how far he was from the exit of this ancient passage. He only knew that as long as he kept walking in the current direction, he would eventually find something. Fortunately, the monsters appearing in the jungle are not difficult for Wang Feng to deal with. What Wang Feng is worried about is whether there is a limit to the strength of such monsters. Where Wang Feng is now, it is estimated that he can face it easily. If it were Lu Feng and others, it might not be so easy. However, Lu Feng and the others would not come here alone. With the number of people in the Hope Expeditionary Force, they would not suffer much if they came here, as long as they are not too arrogant. Wang Feng slowly rose into the air and came to the top of the jungle. He looked in front of him and found that he still couldn't see the edge of the jungle. It was estimated that at his current speed, he would have to walk for at least a few days. However, after Wang Feng thought about it, he decided to continue walking on the ground. In fact, if he was flying a small fighter plane, Wang Feng could move forward quickly as long as it did not exceed 100 meters above the ground. But Wang Feng gave up this idea because he always felt that this jungle seemed to have some restrictions on the way they could move forward. At least, the rules here will never allow Wang Feng and the others to easily pass through the jungle and find its exit. If you want to enter the original star, it seems that you have to go through some battles. This may be the rules made for them by that mysterious creature. Meow. Just as Wang Feng continued to march in the jungle, accompanied by a somewhat familiar voice, a white shadow suddenly rushed towards Wang Feng as fast as lightning. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 842. Wang Feng smiled lightly when he saw the white shadow coming, then he put away his Xianyuan sword and stretched out his right hand to greet the white shadow. Although the white shadow was very fast and most people could not see it clearly, Wang Feng, who had the sky eye, had already distinguished that the white shadow was his little kitten Rura. Meow. Another soft cry. The little kitten Rura was originally going to land on Wang Feng's shoulder, but now Rura seemed to be unable to be called a little kitten. Perhaps because he had absorbed enough chaotic energy, the size of the little kitten Rura had doubled compared to when he just entered the ancient passage. Now Rura's body was like that of a large dog. Moreover, Rura's originally pure white body actually had black stripes, which looked a bit like the white tiger that Wang Feng had seen on Atlantis before, but it was much smaller than the white tiger. Wang Feng also saw Rura's eyes, and with Rura's cry before, he was able to identify this little guy. With Rura's current size, it seems a little difficult to land on Wang Feng's shoulder. Obviously, this little guy also discovered this, so he temporarily changed his direction and landed next to Wang Feng, stretching his head to rub against Wang Feng. Rura. Have you found anything in this jungle? Wang Feng stroked Rura with his hand and communicated with Rura with his consciousness. From Rura's current state, Wang Feng knew that this guy must have fought a lot in the jungle. The bloodstains on his body, black and white stripes plus red dots, almost turned it into a big cat, but feeling the energy fluctuations in its body, Wang Feng understood that Rura was not injured, and it should be stained with the blood of other creatures in the battle. Rura didn't feel strange about Wang Feng communicating with his consciousness, because he had used this kind of consciousness to communicate and talk with Wang Feng before. Moreover, Rura's answer did not disappoint Wang Feng, as it did have some new discoveries. Rura, the little fellow, sneaked into the jungle by himself after entering the ancient passage, because he was not very familiar with the mutant willow tree and the mutant bees. Rura had always played with Nyuniu in the Hope base before. Now Nyuniu was left in the Hope Empire on the mother planet by Duanlei because of her young age, and Shen Yaisan also stayed there for the sake of her child. Because Shen Yaisan, like Lu Qiang, was not a combat type, and the Hope Empire also needed manpower to manage, and Lu Qiang and Shen Yaisan, staying in the Hope Empire, could be regarded as returning to their old business and doing their old business. However, this also led to the little fellow Rura losing his partner, and Wang Feng needed to send the three little killers to find the exclusive passage belonging to their Kali tribe, so Rura could only choose to enter the jungle by himself. After hunting the monsters in the jungle, it found that there seemed to be something in the monsters that was good for its body, so the little guy automatically regarded this place as his hunting ground, and it can be said that he had a lot of fun in the jungle. It also found that the deeper it went, the stronger the monsters were and the more there were. But at the same time, after hunting them, Rura got more benefits. Although Rura didn't know that he absorbed the chaotic energy, it didn't hinder his hunting. So, Rura excitedly continued to go deeper into the jungle until just now, its progress finally encountered resistance. Rura told Wang Feng that after about 1 kilometer forward, a large group of monsters would appear, and these monsters would become very crazy. Once they found foreign creatures, they would rush up and attack like a swarm, and they would not fear life and death. Some of the creatures they encountered in the jungle before would choose to escape after being seriously injured, but the monsters behind did not have this situation. It was as if they were their enemies. Once they saw them, they would fight to the death. Fortunately, these monsters seem to have a sense of borders. Just like the monsters before, they will not run out of the jungle and enter the plains. When Rura thought that there were too many monsters and wanted to escape, he unexpectedly found that there seemed to be an invisible dividing line in the jungle, blocking them all on the other side. When Rura ran back, he once tested it and found that those monsters with stronger strength and countless numbers just gathered there, staring at him fiercely, but did not cross the line. However, because of Rura's existence, the monsters on the other side of the line gathered more and more, and Rura did not dare to take the risk again. He was afraid that if he crossed the line, he might be torn into pieces by those monsters. Helpless, Rura had to move to the side, but because those monsters would also move with Rura, Rura could not find a chance to move forward. So Rura prepared to return to the previous safe zone for help, but unexpectedly, he just saw Wang Feng, and then he excitedly rushed over. For Rura, his master is extremely powerful. No matter how many monsters there are, they cannot be Wang Feng's opponent. By following Wang Feng, he will not only be able to avenge himself, but also continue to get that kind of a strange substance that can strengthen oneself, can certainly kill two birds with one stone. After analyzing the information conveyed to him by Rura, Wang Feng sighed softly in his heart. Now, it seems that the guy who controls everything behind the scenes is becoming more and more obvious. However, since they don't dare to cross the line, they might as well go over and have a look. It would be a pity not to see such an easy sight with one's own eyes. Wang Feng followed Rura until he came to the border line Rura mentioned. Along the way, Rura did not show any caution. It seemed that he had confirmed that those monsters did not dare to cross that line. A border line. And the situation on the road just proved that Rura was right. Until the border line appeared in Wang Feng's sight, they were not attacked by any monsters. It might be this road, Rura had just walked by, and all the monsters had been cleaned up by Rura, right? Of course, it may also be because this is the dividing line between the low-level area and the high-level area. Therefore, the monsters in the low-level area are frightened by the monsters in the high-level area and dare not approach. Now, all the monsters on the border line have not dispersed, so Wang Feng directly saw the border line. The monsters gathered on the border line roared one after another after seeing Wang Feng and Rura, but just as Rura said, they all stayed there, even though it seemed that they wanted to pounce immediately. They came up and tore Wang Feng and the others into pieces, but as if there was some kind of rule restricting them, no monster dared to pounce directly on them. They were just staring at Wang Feng and Rura, as if waiting for them to pass by. Haha. Making it so obvious. It seems that you are not going to hide your existence anymore, right? After carefully looking at the monster opposite, Wang Feng raised his head and said with a chuckle to the sky. He didn't care whether that mysterious existence could hear his words. Anyway, Wang Feng was extremely unhappy with the feeling that everything about him was under the control of others. However, now I have no ability to resist, so I have no choice but to vent my dissatisfaction in this way. After saying this, Wang Feng lowered his head and looked at the monsters in the distance. He did not expect any response from him. Maybe in the eyes of that existence, he was just an insignificant little creature, right? Just like those ants in my eyes back then. Let me see if you can leave any loopholes. Wang Feng continued to talk to himself, and then directly summoned the Xianyuan sword and switched it to the state of a long bow. After the Xianyuan sword is fully awakened, it does not lose this function and can still be converted into the form of a long bow. However, compared with the previous bow of Apocalypse, it is still very different. The image of the longbow became even more ferocious. There were more than a dozen spikes arranged on the bow. The longest one was even more than a foot long. Besides the handheld part and the bowstring, other parts of the longbow were also sharp. Abnormally, even if it is used for close combat, its lethality is estimated to be no less than that of a two-handed sword. Fortunately, this function of the Xianyuan sword has not been lost. Otherwise, with Wang Feng's current strength, it seems that it would not be easy to find a bow suitable for him. An ordinary longbow would simply not be able to withstand Wang Feng's current strength. Not to mention Wang Feng, even those soldiers who wanted to join the expedition have become very picky about their weapons requirements. Fortunately, the technology on the home planet is far superior to that of their Atlantis star, and Gao's Hixing Wang Feng responded to almost every request and specially helped them build a large number of cold weapons. This prevented the Hope Expeditionary Army from going into battle with bare hands. As for Lu Feng and the others, they have the 10 long knives made of meteorite iron left behind by Apostle John, which are enough for their needs for the time being. Wang Feng raised his bow and directly mounted 3 feather arrows. The next moment, the 3 arrows flew towards the monsters on the opposite side like meteors chasing the moon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 843. After shooting the arrows, Wang Feng began to stare at the 3 arrows he shot. He had a guess in his mind. If all this was really as he guessed. Puff puff puff. Wang Feng shook his head and smiled bitterly. The result was the same as he guessed. If he used long-range attacks here, he could not hurt those monsters. When the arrows flew in front of those monsters, they were blocked invisibly, as if they were nailed on some transparent barrier. After making a muffled sound, they fell gently to the ground. As for the arrows he shot, those monsters seemed to have not seen them at all. They did not even dodge. It seems that if these monsters did not know the rules here very well, they did not even see his attack just now. When Wang Feng discovered this invisible barrier, he had originally made this guess, because if there was no such restriction, these monsters would be food for him. As long as he was given enough time, he could kill as many as he wanted. Anyway, they can't cross the border. As long as I stand here and shoot with bows and arrows, those monsters can only be my targets. After Wang Feng confirmed his guess, he slowly walked forward, first put away his arrows, and then looked at the monsters on the opposite side. Most of these monsters are canines, which are similar to the wolves on Atlantis. However, these wolves are quite big. Even the smaller ones are as big as donkeys, and the larger ones are as big as cows. Moreover, the strength of these wolves is also quite powerful. Wang Feng even felt the existence of level 8 creatures among them. Now Wang Feng mainly doesn't know whether the area in front of him is the last area of the ancient passage. If they pass this area, it is still not the exit, but a more dangerous area, then they are really in trouble. Even the monsters in front of them are difficult for the guys of the Hope Expeditionary Force to deal with. Perhaps if they form a battle formation, 3 people against 1, there will be no danger. But looking at the number of monsters in front of them, if they really fight, 3 to 1 is no problem, but the 3 will definitely not be them, but the monsters blocking their way. Therefore, in this area now, I am afraid that when the Hope Expeditionary Force clears this area, the speed will slow down. However, Wang Feng looked back and felt that he estimated that it would take a long time for the Hope Expeditionary Force to clear this area. Although it only took him a few hours to reach this depth in the jungle, he was rushing like he was on the road, which was many times faster than the Hope Expeditionary Force's clearing speed. Especially Wang Feng was moving straight along a line, while the Hope Expeditionary Corps was spread out over a large area. They had to kill all the monsters in the jungle along the way before continuing to go deeper. The disadvantage of this is that their speed is very slow, but it is safe, and the chance of death is almost zero. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng directly took out another small fighter from Xianyuan space, then jumped onto the fighter and turned on the communicator. "Third Master. Are you there?" Wang Feng said to the communicator. In this ancient passage, all individual communicators were unusable. Only the small fighters could communicate directly with the Yanhuang. "Yes." The voice of Emperor Fuxi came from the communicator. "Third Master, please tell Lazy Eye and the others that my current location should be a dividing line. After passing here, more monsters will appear, and they will be stronger. I even found a level 8 creature." Wang Feng said to the communicator. He must let Duan Lei and the others know the situation here. Otherwise, if the Hope Expeditionary Force came here without knowing the situation and rushed in, it is likely that many people would not be able to come back. After all, these monsters will not gather here all the time, just like Rura, who was surrounded by monsters only after entering the high-level area. Fortunately, Rura was fast enough, and the alertness of animals is always much more acute than that of humans, so he was able to retreat. But this place seems to be the same as the junction of the plain and the jungle before. Those high-level monsters cannot enter the low-level area. Well, the place where I am now belongs to the low-level area. Those monsters are right in front of me, staring at me with greedy eyes." Wang Feng said this and turned on the camera of the small fighter so that Fuxi could also see the situation in front of him. Seeing those monsters strangely lined up in a long line in front of the small fighter, Fuxi frowned and then asked, "What does Dong Huang say?" Although Dong Huang Tai is Fuxi's master, it seems that Fuxi has never called him teacher or master. When talking about Dong Huang Tai with Xianyuan before, he just called him old man or dead old man. Now that Dong Huang's consciousness appeared, Fuxi no longer called him old man, but he still called him by his name. Because they were talking using a communicator, although Wang Feng did not imprison Dong Huang Tai's consciousness, Dong Huang Tai could not talk to Fuxi directly. Yet, Wang Feng waited for a while and found that Dong Huang Tai still had no reaction, so he shook his head gently. Senior Dong Huang didn't say anything. Good. After hearing Wang Feng's words, Fuxi didn't say anything more, just nodded and said, "I understand. I will tell Duan Lei and the others about this situation. You can continue." Then, Fuxi cut off the conversation. Wang Feng frowned. Ever since he entered the ancient secret realm, or even earlier, Fuxi seemed to have changed somewhat. Wang Feng couldn't get out of the specific place, but he always felt that Fuxi seemed to be worried about something. But Fu 11 didn't say anything, so he didn't ask. Even where Duan Lei and the others went after they met Fu 11, Wang Feng didn't bother to find out. Anyway, in Wang Feng's heart, Fu 11 was still trustworthy. He is hiding it now, perhaps because he hasn't known about it yet. Now that Fuxi had cut off the communication, Wang Feng jumped out of the small fighter plane and put it away. Originally, Wang Feng wanted to ask if anyone in the Hope Expeditionary Force had awakened. Now, I have to let it go for a while. Fuxi is in a bad mood. At this time, Wang Feng has no intention of touching him. After putting away the small fighter plane, Wang Feng looked at Rura. "Rura, I'm going to rush in, you can take care of yourself." After communicating with Rura using his consciousness, Wang Feng directly summoned the Xianyuan sword without waiting for Rura's reaction, and rushed towards the monsters. When rushing through the place where the 3 arrows fired by Wang Feng were blocked, Wang Feng deliberately sensed his body and found that he felt absolutely nothing when rushing through the invisible barrier. And then, Wang Feng had no time to think about anything else, because after the monsters who had been waiting for a long time discovered that Wang Feng had broken through the barrier and entered their territory, they all immediately swarmed up, one by one. The big bloody mouths that sprayed out a foul smell bit Wang Feng one after another. Snort. Wang Feng snorted coldly, and then, a burst of white mist emanated from his body. At the same time, Wang Feng's speed suddenly accelerated, even pulling out phantoms in the air. At this time, Wang Feng finally used the two powers that he had not used for a long time, wind and ice. Since Wang Feng obtained the Yanhuang horn, these two powers were completely useless because he was either fighting in the universe or in the air. The Sky Eye, on the other hand, became Wang Feng's most commonly used power. Now, using his two combat powers again, Wang Feng tightened the Xianyuan sword in his hand. A familiar feeling finally filled Wang Feng's body again. Fighting will make cowardly people fearful, but it will make brave people fearful. People are excited. Wang Feng now seems to have returned to the time when he was among the zombies and slaughtered all kinds of zombies. It has to be said that although he was much weaker at that time than he is now, but after entering after the battle, his feeling was basically the same. Seeing the Xianyuan sword in his hand splitting the giant wolf in front of him, Wang Feng suddenly felt a surge of pride in his heart. Since leaving Atlantis, Wang Feng can say that his mood has never been truly relaxed. On the contrary, he is even more depressed than when he experienced the apocalypse. Even when traveling with Lu Wanting, Su Mo, Zhang Xiu and the others, Wang Feng did not really relax. The destruction of Atlantis, the disappearance of Fuxi and Duan Lei, the state of instructor Li Yingning, and the worries about the future of these people, and the shadow of the cosmic ghost. All of this almost made Wang Feng unable to breathe. Thinking back to the beginning, even after the apocalypse, Wang Feng did not bear such huge pressure. At that time, as long as he found some food, he could I can relax for a while, because at least I have something to eat these days and don't have to worry about being killed. As Wang Feng's strength increased, more and more people gathered around him, but he could no longer find the same mood he had at that time. Even just now, when Wang Feng was talking to Fuxi on the phone, the manipulator behind the scenes was still making Wang Feng a little breathless. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 844. Although Wang Feng had heard of the saying that the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility, he did not quite understand it at that time. Now he finally understood that this sentence was exactly the same for Wang Feng now. Before, he was just an enhancer. As long as he could find enough food for himself, everything would be fine. He didn't have to worry about anything else. But now, with so many people following him, Wang Feng is no longer the enhancer who can feed himself and his family. Whether it was the Hope Base at the beginning, the Hope Empire on the Mother Planet, or even the Hope Expeditionary Force now, these people followed him because of their trust in him. Wang Feng needs to take care of these people's food, drink, defecation, and personal safety, especially now, the 100,000 people who entered the primitive secret realm with him. These people can be said to be the old team that followed Wang Feng at the beginning, the core members of the Hope Base and the warriors of the two legions. Can they reach the primitive star safely? Can they awaken their abilities smoothly? Can the human race even rely on these warriors? Find back the glory of the past? All of these turned into a series of tight spells, tightly hooped around Wang Feng's head. He felt overwhelmed all the time. Even now, the reason why Wang Feng went deep into the depths alone in advance was not to explore the way for the Hope Expeditionary Force behind him and to grasp the situation ahead first. If Wang Feng was an extremely selfish person, then perhaps he could get some relief. For example, people like Fang Cheng, or Hu Yahuan, or even like the earliest Lu Feng, Wang Feng would not put such great pressure on himself. Anyway, I didn't beg you to follow me. Since you voluntarily follow me, then, whether you live or die, what does it have to do with me? In fact, many people are like this. It's not that the greater the power, the greater the responsibility, but the greater the power, the greater the desire. In the end, they only remember to take care of themselves and their families, and forget everything they should do. And such people will never be condemned by their conscience throughout their lives, because they don't have. But Wang Feng is not such a person. Therefore, the bigger the base and the more people there are, the greater the pressure in his heart, because he is the leader of these people and must be responsible for them. When you have power in your hands, if you don't want to, or are unwilling to take the corresponding responsibility, then you'd better let go of that power, because you don't deserve it. And at this moment, after launching the frost and wind skills, Wang Feng once again experienced the kind of unrestrained speed, and once again found the feeling of close combat with various mutant creatures or zombies and devourers in the environment surrounded by frost. In fact, this is what Wang Feng likes most. He likes fighting, and his specialty is also in this aspect. For Wang Feng's grasp of the timing and tactical arrangement on the battlefield, even Duan Lei is ashamed of himself. Wang Feng was born to be a general, he was not a commander. He was suitable to lead the brave warriors on the battlefield and charge into the enemy, instead of staying behind to think about how to solve problems such as personnel arrangements. It can be said that if there was no Wang Feng, the Hope Base would not have been able to obtain so many resources, and naturally it would not have been able to develop so rapidly, but if there was no Duan Lei, the situation might have been worse. Rura, who was standing aside, saw Wang Feng's figure galloping among the monsters. Every time he swung the Xianyuan sword in his hand, he would deprive at least one monster of its life. This fierce battle scene seemed to have stimulated Rura, so he also roared and rushed into the advanced area, intending to fight side by side with Wang Feng. However, although Rura's body size has now become much larger and his strength has been greatly enhanced, he is still somewhat powerless among these monsters. These monsters are larger and stronger than Rura, especially in number. Although Wang Feng has restrained a large number of monsters, there are only a few monsters that can attack Wang Feng at the same time because there are too many monsters. The others will naturally come to take care of Rura. Especially, Rura is a cat after all, even if it doesn't look as cute as when it just met Wang Feng. But its cry. Maybe it will be very effective against women, but to deter the enemy, this is a bit too forced. Fortunately, Rura is very fast. Thinking back to the beginning, Wang Feng was not Rura's opponent without opening the wind. Therefore, after Rura came in, he found that the situation seemed to be bad, so he directly moved closer to Wang Feng. Although in the fierce battle, Wang Feng still kept an eye on all directions and did not relax at all. He certainly knew that Rura had joined. Wang Feng had already moved closer to Rura, and Rura took the initiative to join him, so Rura soon came to Wang Feng's side. Wang Feng waved his right hand and chopped a giant wolf that was right behind Rura into two pieces. At the same time, the life energy in the monster was almost completely absorbed. At the same time, Wang Feng's left hand was not idle either. He punched a giant ape that jumped down from the air and tried to grab Wang Feng's head with its claws. The monsters besieging them were not just one kind, and Wang Feng didn't know their names, so he had to call them what they looked like. Just like the one that Wang Feng had just killed, it was shaped like a gorilla, but its face looked a bit like a horse, and it had a tail. Wang Feng called it giant ape. As for whether it was satisfied with the name, well. Anyway, it was already dead, so it probably wouldn't have any objections. After Rura came to Wang Feng was surprised to find that Rura was not affected by his frost ability. You know, when he was in Atlantis, his frost ability was an indiscriminate attack. Except for himself, any creature within the range of his frost ability would be affected by the ability, frozen or slowed down. This new discovery gave Wang Feng a little surprise, because here, the best way to fight is close combat. If their abilities cannot hurt their own people, then the benefits to them are not a little bit. Especially, Duan Lei's large-scale attack ability, Thunderstorm. If Duan Lei's Thunderstorm here or on the primordial star does not harm his own people, then Doomsday's thunderstorm can be said to be directly upgraded by several levels. In the past, because thunderstorms attack indiscriminately, when Doomsday launched thunderstorms, he always let Luqiang and other power-type evolvers throw him far away, and then use it after he is out of the range of his own people. This is not only troublesome, but also after using the superpower, Doomsday, who is in a weak period, is easily attacked by the enemy because there is no one to protect him. When dealing with zombies without mind, it may be okay, but once encountering intelligent creatures, it may not be so easy. At least, Doomsday is easily attacked by the enemy after the thunderstorm ends. And if it can be confirmed that their superpowers will not harm their own people, this thunderstorm may become their killer, especially in the current situation where the density of monsters has reached an almost terrifying level. The more creatures Doomsday's thunderstorm covers, the greater the power. Thinking of this, Wang Feng paid attention to Rura again and found that it was still not affected by his frost ability. However, they were still in the monster group, so Wang Feng did not communicate with Rura with his consciousness. When he was free, he would contact Doomsday and let him test it to see if it would not hurt other people. In fact, Wang Feng felt that it should be as he thought, that their ability would not hurt their own people. Because these human beings have their own marks, since this exclusive channel can distinguish which race these creatures belong to through the marks, then in the primitive star, this planet with unique rules, it seems not surprising that such a situation occurs. At least, Rura is not even a member of the human race, and it is not affected by his frost ability. Maybe in this world, it can be distinguished that Rura was born on the same planet as himself. Moreover, after noticing Rura's situation, Wang Feng also deliberately expanded the range of his frost ability. He found that except for Rura, all other monsters, no matter what kind, would be affected by the frost ability and slow down as long as they entered the range of his frost ability. With the help of the frost ability, Rura, who was originally a little bit unable to hold on, suddenly became brave. These monsters, who were originally not as fast as it, became even worse after being affected by the frost ability. Although Rura's damage to them was limited, it was difficult for them to hurt Rura. And with Wang Feng around, Rura didn't have to worry too much as long as he was not fatally injured, even if he was missing an arm or a leg. This point, since Wang Feng had just become an evolver, the kitten who had scared Wang Feng and immediately activated his ability with a cry, of course, had long understood it. The man and the cat fought for an unknown amount of time until Wang Feng suddenly realized that there was no monster in front of him. He paused for a moment and stopped the fight that had been so exciting for him. Then he looked around. The situation around him stunned Wang Feng. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 845. The scene where Wang Feng was located was in a mess, with the corpses of various animals everywhere. Because basically most of the animals were killed by Wang Feng with the Xianyuan sword, so there were very few complete corpses left behind. Moreover, maybe Wang Feng was in the middle of killing just now, so Wang Feng didn't feel it. Unknowingly, more than 3 hours had passed, and the total number of monsters killed by Wang Feng was enough. Nearly 20,000. Due to the large number of biological body parts accumulated here, this jungle has now become a bloody purgatory on Earth. However, Wang Feng was stunned for a moment and then returned to normal. He just did not expect that during this period, among them, he actually killed so many monsters. For Wang Feng, who has come from the apocalypse, let alone these are just monsters, not people. Even if they are the same kind, as long as they are enemies, Wang Feng will never have any mercy. Compassion for the enemy is cruelty to one's own people. These monsters, no matter what they are enemies after all. If you don't kill them, they may cause harm to the Hope Expeditionary Force in the future. This kind of irreducible enemy cannot be faced with mercy. The only way to entertain them is killing, bloody killing. Wang Feng circled around his previous battlefield and collected all the corpses of these monsters. For them, these are food. They are still relatively precious meat in the end of the world. I think they come in the original star. There are probably not many places with such scarce resources. Although there are some animals raised for meat on the Yanhuang, these are for free after all, and Wang Feng is not short of space in Xianyuan space now. After cleaning up the battlefield, Wang Feng looked at the jungle that was stained red with blood and smelled of strong blood. He turned around and continued walking deeper into the jungle. Perhaps because of the previous killings and the smell of blood, all the monsters in the nearby area had been summoned. Therefore, Wang Feng did not encounter any monsters in the next section of the road. Rura, on the other hand, followed closely behind Wang Feng and had now begun to enter the advanced area. If it left Wang Feng, it would not dare to wander here by itself. And Wang Feng also felt that his experience in the previous apocalypse gave them the strength to pass through this ancient passage. Without the two superpowers of ice and wind, plus the sharpness of Xianyuan sword, Wang Feng would not be able to pass through this ancient passage. I'm afraid the battle won't be so easy. Wang Feng didn't know if this had been arranged by the guy behind the scenes, but no matter what, he had to find the entrance to the primordial star through the ancient passage and enter the primordial star. No matter what the outcome will be for himself, the expeditionary force, or even the entire human race in the future, Wang Feng will at least do his best to keep himself and those around him alive. Wang Feng leads Rura all the way towards his unknown destiny. However, after walking for 10 minutes, Wang Feng suddenly stopped because he suddenly remembered that he had made a new discovery before. Before he had time to tell Doomsday, he originally planned to notify Doomsday immediately when the battle was over. Let him test it? As a result, he was shocked by the number of monsters, so he actually forgot about it and only remembered it now. So, Wang Feng took out a small fighter plane again and started to contact Yanhuang. However, this time, the person talking to Wang Feng was not Fuxi, but Doomsday. Madman! Where are you? It seems that Lao Lu is about to awaken. Just after the communication was connected, Doomsday excitedly told Wang Feng the good news before Wang Feng could tell him what he had discovered. What? Lao Lu is about to wake up. Wang Feng perked up, and he naturally knew what Doomsday was talking about awakening, which meant that Lu Feng was about to awaken the power of his hair and become the same person as the ancient human race. Well, before, Lao Lu led people to clean up monsters in the jungle. Suddenly he felt that something was wrong with him, and he didn't know what was wrong, so he quickly retreated. As soon as he entered the safe zone, Lao Lu fell into a deep sleep. Doomsday said. We didn't know what was going on, so we asked the third master. After the third master heard about it, he went to see Lao Lu and said that Lao Lu was about to awaken. Now the third master is still guarding Lao Lu. Okay. Then I'll go back right away and provide life energy to Lao Lu. Wang Feng immediately decided to go back. He is an awakened human race. Of course he knows that when awakening, he needs a lot of life energy to maintain. Unnecessary. Fuxi's voice suddenly came, and at some point, he also appeared in the Yanhuang horn. The environment Lu Feng is in now is different from your original one. You are in the outside world and there is no replenishment of chaotic energy, so you need a lot of life energy, and the chance of your awakening will become very small. Although I have never been to the place where Lu Feng awakens now, I am sure that this ancient passage is actually a primitive star, because only on the primitive star can the energy of chaos exist. With the energy of chaos, when they awaken, not only do they not need the transportation of life energy, but the probability of success is almost 100%, and the process will not be as long as when you awaken. Fuxi's words made Wang Feng feel depressed. Among these people, his awakening conditions were the worst. Chaos energy was the most important thing for the race born on the mother planet. No wonder, he was also devouring it. When the mother's nest arrives, the Xianyuan sword is awakened through the life energy of the mother's nest. During the awakening process, the chaotic energy released by the Xianyuan sword allowed him to truly awaken, and both his hair and the Xianyuan sword itself truly merged with him. However, this is a good thing for Wang Feng, because now he is the only one who can provide a large amount of life energy. If life energy is still needed for awakening now, then every time someone awakens, he will have to run back. If all 10,000 people were to awaken, he would probably be tired and vomit blood. In particular, judging from the life energy he himself consumed in the past, if everyone consumed the same amount of life energy he had consumed in the past, then the life energy he has now stored from the Devourer's nest will be enough, but there will be no leftover. How much? Okay. I understand. Third Master. Wang Feng replied that no one should know more about the awakening of the human race than Fuxi. Since he said it, he would not go back. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng continued to speak to the communicator. Liza, if you know how, go out, find one of our own people, and try your powers. I just killed some monsters. In the process, I used the frost ability, but I found that my frost ability did not cause any damage to the flesh, so I guessed whether it was in the original star. Our superpowers won't hurt our own people. Real. Duanlei was overjoyed. This news was great news for him. Duanlei had always been troubled by his ultimate move, Thunderstorm. The release conditions for this large-scale indiscriminate attack ability are very critical. Therefore, after entering the original channel, although Duanlei also participated in the hunting operation, he did not use thunderstorms. This is my speculation. You can let everyone test it out. Use the range attack power to attack one of your own people. Be careful and don't kill anyone. Wang Feng did not forget to remind him at the end that since they entered the ancient passage, no expeditionary soldier has died. It would be too funny if one of them died in the hands of one of his own people because of testing superpowers. Nonsense. Of course I know this. Duanlei replied, and then he stopped talking nonsense with Wang Feng and ran out directly, preparing to find a few guys with range attack powers to test Wang Feng's theory. Although Fuxi was right next to him, Duanlei did not ask Fuxi first whether Wang Feng's guess was true or not. Wang Feng directly asked him to try it without asking Fuxi first. In other words, Wang Feng should be I think Fuxi doesn't know about this situation either. After all, it was Fuxi's first time to come to the ancient secret realm, and Wang Feng and the others' powers were all awakened on the planet Atlantis. At least, after Wang Feng had this conjecture, he asked people of the same era as Fuxi Dong Huangtai. Dong Huangtai did not give a definite answer. On Duanlei's side, no one noticed this situation because the Hope Expeditionary Force had already cooperated tacitly. Even if it has a range attack ability, when it is activated, his companions will dodge away in an instant. It is impossible to enter his attack range. You know, the earliest Guardian Legion was famous for the cooperation of a 3-person combat team. If it can't even do this, how can it be said that there is cooperation? As for super-wide attack abilities, such as Duanlei's Thunderstorm, no one released them at all. Only Wang Feng, a guy who always keeps to himself, would have the chance to discover this. Where's Hao Shui? Go and find this guy for me. After rushing out of the Yanhuang, Duanlei shouted directly. Instead of finding other warriors with range attack powers to let them test it first, he decided to test his own thunderstorm first. Having such a powerful power, but never having many opportunities to use it, is Duanlei's heartache. Moreover, once his own thunderstorm will not hurt his own people, it is basically certain that other people's thunderstorms will not be indistinguishable. Attacked. As for Hao Shui of the Mars trio, he has defensive powers. If he is outside and enters the range of his thunderstorm little by little, he should not be in trouble, at least his life will not be in danger. Lu Feng, who originally had invincible impact, was the best candidate for this experiment. However, now that this guy is awakening his ability, Duanlei has no patience to wait for him to wake up, so he directly calls Hao Shui. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 846. I hope that there are many people in the expeditionary force who have short-term invincibility or defensive skills. However, at this time, of course, we need to find core personnel to be the test subjects, especially Hao Shui from the Mars trio. This guy is quite smart. No need to. Who does he use? Duanlei's order was quickly spread out in the hope of an expeditionary force. Since they did not want to go deep alone like Wang Feng, they passed it one by one and quickly reached Hao Shui. In less than 10 minutes, Hao Shui ran over in a hurry, looked at Duanlei and asked expectantly. Brother Lei, why do you want to see me? Following Hao Shui, there are naturally two other members of the Martian trio, Martian and Li Fei. These three guys are together whether they eat, sleep, or fight. If it weren't for these three guys every day, if they fight each other, some people may suspect that they are gay. Of course it's a good thing. Duanlei said, then turned around and looked at his surroundings, waved to Hao Shui and said. Follow me. Brother Lei. Is it just him? What about us? Xing and Li Fei were anxious. Duanlei made a special trip to find Hao Shui and said it was a good thing. How could this bring them down? If Hao Shui gets any benefits, but these two people don't get it, will Hao Shui have to ride on him in the future? I'm going to assign a combat mission, and you two are not suitable. Duanlei glanced at Mars and Li Fei and said with a half smile. Combat mission? Then you have to take us two with you. The three of us are an invincible trio. Firestar hurriedly defended himself loudly. Are you sure? Duanlei smiled. Kindness. Xing and Li Fei nodded like chickens pecking at rice. Then just follow me. If you want to participate later, I won't stop you. Duanlei said, then ignored them and walked straight towards the place he chose, while the Mars trio all followed Duanlei in a hurry. Okay. You stay here. Duanlei looked at the distance and felt it was almost there, so he told the three of them, and then continued walking forward. Brother Lei, what are you doing? The Martian trio were confused, especially Hao Shui, who was named by Duanlei. Suddenly, an ominous premonition filled their hearts. Have no idea. Looking at Duanlei's back, Xing swallowed and said. But, I think since Brother Lei is looking for you, then, we won't fight with you anymore. Yeah. Hearing Xing's words, Li Fei also nodded desperately. That's right, Brother Lei will turn on the stove for you, and we won't disturb you anymore. After saying that, Martian and Li Fei ran back in unison, and after leaving Hao Shui for some distance, they stood there and looked at them. Two unreliable guys. They just said they were an invincible combat team, and they just ran away. Hao Shui said angrily. He also felt that something was wrong, but Duanlei had already called his name. He didn't dare to run even if he wanted to. Duanlei said it was a combat mission. If it was really a combat mission, then it should also go into the jungle, right? Why did you bring me to the safe zone? Could it be that, the instructor Li Yingning left, and now number 7 went into the jungle alone again? Seeing that no one of them was practicing, Duanlei thought about getting over the instructor's addiction, right? But according to Duanlei's current performance, is he trying to distance himself to fight? While watching Duanlei move forward, Hao Shui guessed in his mind that when he saw Duanlei stop about 1 kilometer away from him, Hao Shui almost cried. This was obviously the rhythm of a thunderstorm. Brother Lei. If you don't play like this, I'm a defensive melee fighter, and you still fight me at such a long distance. I didn't even touch you, so why the hell am I dead? A warrior is piking a mage, how can you be so shameless? The most important thing is that I don't have a charge. Hao Shui wailed in his heart. However, Duan Lei obviously didn't care about this guy's mood. After looking at the distance, he nodded with satisfaction and then said, Hao Shui, I will launch a thunderstorm in a while, and then you enter the range of my thunderstorm. I want to do a test. Ah! Hao Shui was shocked, this is not PK? You just want to do an experiment? This is obviously trying to trick me. Just hold a pot of hot oil with you and tell others. Come on. Put your hand in, I'm going to do a test. What test? Look at the fried meat. Does it smell good? That was a thunderstorm. Is it the original Hope Base, the most powerful move recognized by everyone, and now you are allowed to go in and test it? Brother Lei. You haven't used this trick for a long time, are your hands itchy? Can I go to the jungle and catch some monsters for you to play with? Stop playing with me, I'm not fun at all. Hao Shui shouted with a sad face. Cut the nonsense. Duan Lei shouted. I'm going to start, mark my words, you must enter the thunderstorm area, but you don't have to go deep, just activate your defensive skills when you feel attacked by the thunderstorm. Seeing. Li Fei. You too, watch him. After saying that, Duan Lei shouted to Huaxing and Li Fei again, and then jumped straight into the air. Although Duan Lei couldn't fly, with his current strength, he could easily jump 2 or 3 times. 10 meters, it's almost like flying, except you can't control the direction. However, Duan Lei controlled his height. When he reached a height of 10 meters, he directly activated his long-lost supernatural power, Thunderstorm. Duan Lei didn't dare to jump too high. Who knows if there is a no-fly zone in this safe zone? If he jumped too high, he would be killed before the thunderstorm was activated. That would be too depressing. When Duan Lei jumped into the air, Huo Xing and Li Fei came behind Hao Shui, and looked up with Hao Shui. When Duan Lei jumped nearly 10 meters in the air, he stopped. Then, a transparent blue cover appeared, covering the space within a kilometer around Duan Lei. Duan Lei's distance control is quite accurate. The edge of the blue transparent cover is just about 1 foot in front of Hao Shui. As long as he takes a step forward, he can step into the range of the thunderstorm. Due to the improvement of Duan Lei's strength, Duan Lei's thunderstorm has also undergone great changes. Not only can it control the range, but it can also be decomposed into a series of lightning attacks. However, if you want to form a thunderstorm with real thunderstorm attack power, then the current thunderstorm with a radius of 1 kilometer is the smallest thunderstorm that Duan Lei can send out. If it is to be expanded, Duan Lei can even support a thunderstorm covering a radius of 7 or 8 kilometers and ensure that its power is not reduced. However, in that case, all of Duan Lei's energy will definitely be drained, and it will not be restored for a long time. Therefore, this extreme thunderstorm can only be used as a last resort. Under normal circumstances, Duan Lei will not launch it. For example, the one in front of him is already the minimum range where Duan Lei can fully exert the thunderstorm. If it is smaller, it will not be able to achieve Duan Lei's test effect. After the blue light shield was formed, countless terrifying electric snakes began to wreak havoc in the light shield. Duan Lei's thunderstorm attacks all creatures in the light shield, not only animals, but also plants. As long as they have life energy, they will also become the target of the thunderstorm. Looking at the thunderstorm in front of him, Hao Shui's face twitched, but Duan Lei had an order, and he certainly didn't dare to disobey, so he gritted his teeth, raised his right foot, and prepared to step into the light shield of the thunderstorm. Bang! As soon as Hao Shui raised his foot, 2 big feet firmly stuck on his buttocks, and he was directly stuck into the light shield of the thunderstorm. These two big feet, of course, belong to Li Fei and Mars. Hao Xue's two bad friends will certainly not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After the light shield appeared, they were ready. As soon as they saw the electric snake appear, the two raised their feet and kicked Hao Xue directly, kicking him into the range of the thunderstorm. The two of them dared to do this because they had a good idea of Duanlei. Duanlei would never put them in danger. Since Duanlei let Hao Xue in, he was sure that he would not hurt Hao Xue, well, at least he would not kill him. Hao Xue was caught off guard and suddenly found that his body flew up and rushed directly into the light shield. He was shocked and activated his defense skill, petrification, without thinking. Hao Xue's skill is not like Lu Feng's invincible impact, which can directly immunize all the damage received. Of course, the premise is that the strength of the attack does not exceed the limit of the invincible shield. And Hao Xue's is not absolute defense, but damage reduction. For example, if the thunderstorm's attack is 100 and does not exceed the limit of Lu Feng's invincible shield, then Lu Feng will not be hurt in the thunderstorm. Hao Xue's petrification hardens his body, reducing the damage he receives. Therefore, even if he activates the petrification ability, Hao Xue will still suffer some damage. This does not mean that Lu Feng's ability is better than Hao Xue's, but each has its own advantages. Under attacks that do not exceed the limit of the invincible shield, Lu Feng has the advantage, but if the attack exceeds that limit, Lu Feng's invincible shield will be completely ineffective, and Hao Xue's petrification will still work. In other words, Lu Feng will be unscathed by attacks below the limit, but Lu Feng may die from attacks above the limit, but Hao Xue may only be seriously injured. Hao Xue, who entered the thunderstorm, activated the petrification ability, but still felt the electric snakes running around him. He had seen the power of the thunderstorm with his own eyes. Even the alienation loss was electrocuted into charcoal, let alone him. Hao Xue felt that if Duanlei continued the thunderstorm, he would probably turn into a large piece of barbecue that should taste good. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 847. Hao Xue, who entered the range of the thunderstorm, let out an earth-shattering scream. In fact, Hao Xue, Hu Xing, and Li Fei have experienced countless battles. Even if they are seriously injured, they will never scream. However, that refers to the time when facing the enemy. Now, at least for Hao Xue, this is not a battle, but torture. Not to mention that it is impossible for this kid to get close to Duanlei. Even if he could get close, he wouldn't dare to attack Duanlei. Although their leader is Wang Feng, the one who takes over is often no longer in charge. Therefore, whether it is the original Hope Base or the current Hope Expeditionary Force, the actual leader has always been Duanlei. If he really accidentally hurt Duanlei, he, Hao Xue, would probably be drowned in everyone's saliva. Since you can't resist, you can only enjoy it. This is not a XX, but a thunderstorm. The outside will be charred and the inside will be tender when the electricity is fired. Try to enjoy it. Therefore, Hao Xue could only use his own performance to tell Duanlei how miserable he was now, hoping that Duanlei would stop if he softened his heart, so he kept letting out earth-shattering screams. Duanlei heard Hao Xue's cry and couldn't help but feel a little strange, because the thunderstorm was his superpower, so Duanlei certainly knew the situation inside. When Hao Xue just rushed in, Duanlei discovered that he was not attacked by the thunderstorm as Wang Feng had guessed. Just when Duanlei was overjoyed, he wanted to put away the thunderstorm and inform everyone about the news. While marching, Hao Xue's screams were also heard. As for Mars and Li Fei outside, they looked at Hao Xue in the thunderstorm with confused expressions. What was this guy doing? Even though not a single hair was hurt, why was he screaming so miserably? It seems like there are more than a dozen big men following him. Could it be, is this a new way of attacking with supernatural powers? Only hurting the inside, not outside, killing people invisibly. The two of them looked at Doomsday at the same time. It happened that Doomsday was finally confirmed that their powers would not hurt his own people, and the two of them saw his happy expression. This made the two of them confirm their feelings. Idea. So, after the two guys looked at each other, they looked again at Hao Shui, who was still rolling and wailing in the thunderstorm, and their hearts filled with infinite admiration for Doomsday. Brother Lei is Brother Lei, and he can think of such insidious ways. If this was put into a peaceful society, there would be no place to sue him for torturing people to death. Doomsday didn't know what these two idiots were thinking, but at least Doomsday could think of why Hao Shui screamed. He couldn't help but feel angry and funny. He didn't expect that the famous Martian trio actually had such idiots. Could it be didn't he feel any pain in his body? Fortunately, he could scream so miserably. In the past, this was definitely a movie-level performance. Thinking of this, Doomsday did not put away his thunderstorm, but continued. He wanted to see how long Hao Shui wanted to act. Anyway, the current thunderstorm was not initiated by his power, and within the scope of the thunderstorm, there was a large area of plants, which also provided life energy. Therefore, even if it lasts for a while, it will not have a big impact on Doomsday. You two, come in and try too. Seeing and Li Fei still watching the fun, Doomsday suddenly became childlike and shouted at them. Ah! Seeing and Li Fei were stunned. They didn't expect that Doomsday, who was here to make soy sauce, would be dragged in by Doomsday. Hearing Doomsday's words, Hao Shui, who was screaming, suddenly became excited and shouted in his heart. Damn it! I let you two idiots kick me in, now I'm getting retribution, right? Come in quickly and enjoy it with me. Thinking of this, Hao Shui, who was rolling on the ground, jumped up, pointed at Martian and Li Fei outside and shouted. You two come in quickly, I'll let you watch the show, and, At this time, Hao Shui realized why he didn't seem to be as miserable as he thought. He turned around and looked at himself. Although he looked very embarrassed, it was all caused by rolling on the ground just now and had nothing to do with the thunderstorm. In particular, he didn't feel anything was wrong with him, but now those electric snakes were still running around him. After being stunned for a moment, Hao Shui didn't know that the string suddenly moved wrong, so he actually reached out to catch an electric snake in front of him. After being caught by Hao Shui, the electric snake immediately turned into nothingness and did not do anything to Hao Shui at all. Cause any harm. This. Hao Shui blinked, wondering what was going on. Could it be that Brother Lei's thunderstorm failed? Naturally, Hao Shui's actions were noticed by Martian and Li Fei. Martian was also stunned for a moment, then looked at Doomsday, suddenly realized, and immediately raised his feet and entered the range of the thunderstorm. Looking at Martian's back, Li Fei seemed to understand. He fled and entered the thunderstorm. I'll go. What's going on? Doesn't our superpower attack indiscriminately? Can we still distinguish between our own people? After entering the thunderstorm, Mars waved his arms left and right, and then shouted with surprise. But before Mars could finish his words, the thunderstorm cover suddenly disappeared, and Doomsday had already put away his powers. After the transparent blue light shield disappeared, the few remaining electric snakes flashed in the air a few times and then disappeared completely. Doomsday fell on the ground and then walked towards the Martian trio. This thunderstorm did not put a big burden on Doomsday's body, and it did not even cause a period of weakness. Because releasing a thunderstorm requires a huge amount of life energy, when Doomsday was an evolver in the past, his body could not bear the consumption, so he suffered from overdraft, which was why he had such a long period of weakness. But now, Doomsday's strength has increased, and the reserves of life energy in his body have naturally increased. If Doomsday can awaken the function of his hair, I am afraid that by then, thunderstorms will no longer have any side effects. Brother Lei. This is. Seeing Duan Lei coming, Martian asked quickly. Although he had already made a guess, he still wanted Duan Lei to help him confirm. With the minds of Martian and others, it was not difficult to imagine that if their powers were really if they can distinguish between ourselves and the enemy, what benefits it will bring to them. How's it going? I heard you scream quite miserably just now. Are you still alive? Duan Lei did not answer Martian's words. Instead, he looked at Hao Shui and joked. Duan Lei was in a good mood because the issue of superpowers was confirmed. Hey hey. Hao Shui stretched out his hand and scratched his head in embarrassment, and said a little shyly. Brother Lei. Just now, I was a little too involved in the performance. As a result, I thought it was real, so, I didn't react for a moment. I'll go. Act until you deceive yourself. You are really a talent. Calling you the best actor is a bit unfair to you. Duan Lei shook his head, quite speechless at Hao Shui's answer. No. Brother Lei, don't worry, tell me quickly, what is going on? Li Fei asked anxiously at this time. Didn't you guess it? Duan Lei looked at Mars and Li Fei with a smile, nodded and said. Our powers, within the range of the original star, should not harm others. Yet. The Martian trio cheered together. This way, the time it would take for them to clear out the jungle monsters would be greatly accelerated, because those large-scale attacks that had hardly been used before could now be used without any scruples. However, when you tell others the news, it is best to let everyone with range attacks test it first to avoid accidents. Duan Lei couldn't help but remind. I don't know if everyone's superpowers, or all superpowers with attributes, are like this. What I can be sure of now is my thunderstorm and the madman's ice. Confirm. Hearing Duan Lei's words, Hao Shui suddenly froze again. Brother Lei. You mean that when you let me enter you before, you were not sure about this situation? Bang. Hearing Hao Shui's words, Duan Lei was furious and kicked Hao Shui away. You idiot, can you talk? What do you mean by entering me? Xing and Li Fei quickly turned to look at the sky, pretending that they didn't hear anything. No. Brother Lei. Slip of the tongue. Hao Shui quickly got up from the ground. He also knew that he said the wrong thing. He missed the word thunderstorm. Without these two words, it sounded a bit dirty, so he quickly admitted his mistake. This kind of mistake, if Duan Lei takes it to heart, everyone might have to use him to test their range attacks in the future. Brother Lei. I mean, when you let me walk into your thunderstorm, you weren't sure whether the thunderstorm could hurt me, right? Snort. Duan Lei's anger had not subsided yet, he snorted coldly and said. That's right. What should I do if the experiment fails? Hao Shui looked scared. Then you don't have to work so hard on acting. Besides, we can continue to have barbecue in the evening. Duan Lei dropped these words, then turned and walked towards the Yanhuang ship. He wanted to announce this discovery to everyone through the Yanhuang ship's public address system and let them all test it. You pig. Seeing Duan Lei leaving, Mars slapped Hao Shui on the back of the head, knocking him back. You can't even speak a word. Fortunately, it's Brother Lei. If you were the head, Sister Ting wouldn't kill you. Do you dare to be a mistress? Hao Shui got up and touched the place where he was photographed by Martian with his hand. He looked aggrieved, but he still ran forward and followed Martian and Li Fei. After Duan Lei arrived at the Yanhuang ship, he found that the third master Fuxi was not there, and thought that he might have gone to see Lu Feng again, because Lu Feng needed to absorb the energy of chaos to awaken, so he could not stay in the Yanhuang ship. Entering the control hall, Duan Lei directly opened the communicator and shouted into it. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 848. After hearing Duan Lei's call, the people of the Hope Expedition Army were naturally very excited. Even the soldiers who were taking a break ran to the back of the safe zone in groups to test whether their group attack abilities would hurt their own people. The consequence of doing so was that the grassland that originally looked beautiful was ruined by them. However, Doomsday was not easy to talk about in this situation. After all, he was the culprit and the one with the strongest destructive power. The area where Doomsday launched the thunderstorm just now had become a scorched earth. Whether it was plants or insects, they were all electrocuted into charcoal or flying ash by Doomsday's thunderstorm. The Hope Expedition Army here was having a lot of fun, but Wang Feng, Rura, and Qiu Jian in the jungle encountered a very strange thing. After killing that wave of monsters, Wang Feng and Rura walked for about half an hour before encountering a group of monsters again. The number of monsters this time was more than the last time. Maybe it was because they went deep into the jungle again. After feeling this, Wang Feng frowned. This was not good news for him, because if the monsters got stronger the further they went, it would be troublesome if a large group of level 10 creatures appeared in the end. Wang Feng's current strength was only that of a level 10 creature. For level 9 and below, Wang Feng was not afraid of group battles, but once it reached level 10, it would be a qualitative leap for the creature itself. If a level 10 creature really appeared, it would be a difficult challenge for Wang Feng, not to mention the Hope Expeditionary Force. After spending another 4 hours to kill this group of monsters, Wang Feng and Rura set out on the road again. Half an hour later, Wang Feng felt a little strange. According to the time, they should be able to encounter new monsters now, but now, no monsters have appeared. Wang Feng stopped and listened carefully to the surrounding environment. The jungle seemed a little quiet, because there was no wind in this ancient passage, so the plants were also motionless. Wang Feng took a breath, then floated up and slowly flew into the air. The silence around him made Wang Feng feel a little weird, so he wanted to go up to the sky to take a look. However, Wang Feng's speed of ascending was very slow. Although he had known before that the restricted air zone in the ancient passage was 100 meters, this was a gay area. Who knew whether the height of the restricted air zone here would be the same as that over there? Wang Feng just hoped that if he was about to touch the restricted air zone again, he could still get the prompt of that mysterious voice. At his current speed, he was fully confident that he would stop immediately after hearing the prompt sound. However, it seemed that the restricted air zone of the entire ancient passage was at the same height. At least, after Wang Feng flew upwards for more than 50 meters, he still did not hear the prompt sound, but after reaching this height, Wang Feng stopped. Because this height was enough for him to see the surrounding situation. The highest of those trees was only 30 or 40 meters. It was enough for Wang Feng to exceed this height. Wang Feng slowly rotated in the air, carefully observing the surrounding movements. Because the jungle was very dense, even with the sky eye, Wang Feng had no way to see the situation in the jungle clearly. However, Wang Feng found that there was a very strange tree at 10 o'clock. The reason why it was called a tree was that it also grew in the jungle, but its height was a bit terrifying. The sky in the ancient passage was cloudless, and there was nothing in the sky. It was a blue color close to the sea. There was no sun, no moon, and no stars, but it was always so bright. And the tree was still far away from Wang Feng. From Wang Feng's place, he could only see a long cylinder that pierced straight into the sky, connecting the sky and the ground. After Wang Feng found this strange tree, he looked at it carefully, but because the distance was very far, even with the sky eye, Wang Feng did not find anything new. After turning around again and looking around, Wang Feng was ready to descend and head towards the tree, because at least he found some abnormalities and had to go over to take a look. However, just as Wang Feng was about to descend, he unexpectedly found some unusual movements in the jungle ahead. Although he couldn't see what was happening in the jungle, judging from the shaking of the jungle, there should be a battle below, or those monsters were gathering. No matter what the situation was, Wang Feng planned to go over and take a look. If it was a customs gathering, he would have to clean up the monsters in the jungle anyway, especially the monsters in this area, which did not pose any threat to him for the time being. And if it was a battle, there must be someone there, although the Hope Expeditionary Force was almost clearing jungle monsters in the back, and should not have come to this advanced area. But Hope Expeditionary Force still had some lone rangers like himself, such as number 7, Xiao Wu, Qiu Jian, Qingxun and his wife, etc. If they should also have the strength to enter this area alone. Especially number 7, this ancient passage was originally prepared for humans, and naturally the monsters were all targeting humans. And the devourer number 7 must have taken advantage in this jungle, especially with his current strength. In the entire Hope Expeditionary Force, except for Wang Feng who has the sky eye and can see where his body is, and also holds the Xianyuan sword, it is difficult for others to cause real fatal damage to him. Therefore, as long as there are no large groups of level 10 creatures, number 7 is the most powerful creature in the Hope Expeditionary Force. After landing on the ground, Wang Feng took Rura and began to move quickly in that direction. Now he knows that this ancient passage should have certain rules to prevent them from taking shortcuts through here. Therefore, Wang Feng did not fly over from the air. Until now, Wang Feng has not found flying monsters in this jungle, at least no raptors like eagles or falcons have appeared. Therefore, Wang Feng now seems a little afraid of the sky of the ancient passage. Therefore, he would rather walk over from the ground. Although there may be his own people fighting in front, no matter who it is, since he can come here, he must have a certain degree of confidence. After experiencing the end of the world, almost everyone understands the preciousness of life. Therefore, no one will rashly enter this area to seek death without certainty. After walking on the ground for about 20 minutes, Wang Feng finally heard the roar of the monsters in front of him. Now Wang Feng can basically be sure that there must be members of the Hope Expeditionary Force in front of him, because those monsters will only make noises when fighting. When he arrived at the battle scene, Wang Feng was stunned. He originally thought that the person who appeared in front of him should be number 7 or Xiao Wu, but now he saw that the figure holding a long sword, crisscrossing among the monsters, and constantly killing these monsters, actually belonged to Qiu Jian. After looking at the battle situation, Wang Feng did not take action, but planned to watch the excitement first. He could see that although Qiu Jian was now trapped in the monster group, he was not in danger, but was at ease. Looking at his body, there was not even a drop of blood on it, so it was clear that this guy had not used his full strength yet. It seemed that after entering the ancient passage, Qiu Jian's strength had been further improved. However, just because Wang Feng did not take action did not mean that the monsters would let him go. The monsters that besieged Qiu Jian soon discovered the arrival of Wang Feng and Roro, so some of the monsters, after a roar, began to surround Wang Feng and Roro. At this time, Qiu Jian also discovered the arrival of Wang Feng and the others, but he did not express anything, just smiled, and then continued his fight. Since the monsters were coming, Wang Feng would naturally not stand idly by. After summoning the Xianyuan sword, he and Roro rushed into the group of monsters in front and started a new killing. While killing, Wang Feng also kept paying attention to Qiu Jian's movements. After all, Qiu Jian was not like him, with the ability of ice, which could slow down the monsters. Now Wang Feng likes his ice ability more and more. He finds that in group battles, his ice ability, combined with his wind, is the most suitable combination in group battles. The monster slows down, and he speeds up. The difference between the positive and the negative will be maximized. Although there are several monsters around Wang Feng at the same time, and they attack Wang Feng at the same time, there is no monster that can really send its attack to Wang Feng. Wang Feng even has time to take care of the meat around him, and Qiu Jian, who only has the ability of destruction, seems to be more relaxed than Wang Feng in the dense monsters. With the addition of Wang Feng, the speed of the battle has increased a lot soon, there are no more living monsters in the battlefield. Madman! Did you want to watch the fun just now? Qiu Jian put away the long sword in his hand, and then looked at Wang Feng and asked. After this period of time, Qiu Jian began to get familiar with Wang Feng and was no longer as restrained as before. Haha! That's what I thought. Wang Feng laughed. Unfortunately, these blind guys dragged me into this. It's so annoying. Oh. That's right. At this time, Wang Feng suddenly thought of something and immediately looked up and down at Qiu Jian. You seem to have become much stronger? Why? Awakened? No. Qiu Jian shook his head. I can't awaken. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 849. Of course Qiu Jian knew that what Wang Feng asked was whether he could awaken the function of his hair and become a human being like the ancient human race. I'll go. Are you still holding onto your mouth like this before you wake up? Wang Feng was shocked. He was fully awakened, and with the two powers of ice and wind, and the Xianyuan sword, an ancient artifact of the human race, in his hand, he was able to appear so relaxed in the attack of these monsters, but Qiu Jian has not yet awakened, and is already on par with him. If this makes him awaken, what's the point? Dizzy. Why didn't you understand? Qiu Jian put a hand on his forehead, shook his head and looked at Wang Feng, with an expression on his face that said your IQ should be recharged. What I'm saying is not that I haven't awakened, but, no. Method. Awaken. Awaken. Qiu Jian said the last few words word for word. What? Wang Feng was stunned for a moment, then looked at Qiu Jian in astonishment. Can't awaken? How do you know? If number 7 or Xiao Wu said this, or even Qingxun and his wife, Wang Feng would be able to accept it. After all, they are either not human at all, or they have been transformed into semi-zombie creatures. If they cannot be like humans, awakening, that makes sense. But Qiu Jian is a pure human being, how could he be unable to awaken his own abilities? Qiu Jian looked at Wang Feng, then pointed at himself and said. Because of my attributes. Destruction. I don't know why, no matter how many monsters I kill, I can't absorb any energy of chaos. After those monsters are killed by me, their life energy will directly turn into the power of destruction and enter my body. But I can feel that trace of chaos, but they cannot enter my body. Once it comes into contact with the power of destruction in my body, the energy of chaos will be blocked in my body. Although my power of destruction cannot dissolve the energy of chaos, the energy of chaos can also not dissolve the energy of destruction. Melt away. Therefore, the chaos energy in the monsters I killed eventually dispersed between the heaven and the earth. Without the chaos energy, I cannot awaken myself. During the battle just now, did you see that there was a faint black mask scattered on the surface of my body? It looked like this. After Qiu Jian finished speaking, a faint light mask appeared on the surface of his body, flashing with a black halo, but the color was relatively dim, so it would not be easy to detect if you were not paying attention. Wang Feng nodded. He had seen it during the battle just now, but at that time he thought it was Qiu Jian's destructive power, so he didn't ask any more questions. It's this light shield that blocks the energy of chaos from entering my body. Qiu Jian explained. Damn. That's trouble. Wang Feng frowned. If Qiu Jian cannot awaken, then. Senior Dong Huang, do you know what's going on? Wang Feng asked Dong Huang Tai in his heart, this guy has lived for so long, he should know what is going on, right? Haha. The body of destruction. Dong Huangtai smiled and said. The energy of chaos is the origin of all species and life, and the source of all life. It belongs to creation and represents life. And the power of destruction belongs to destruction and represents death. These two are the two elements in these two universes. It's an extreme, it's impossible for enemies to merge. But life and death are actually a cycle. When there is life, there is death, and when there is death, there is life. The sun moves at noon, the moon is full and wanes, and things prosper and decline. These are the constants of heaven and earth. Fuxi knows the so-called flaw in the way of heaven. His Bagua means the combination of yin and yang, the integration of life and death, which means reincarnation. With this destructive body with the power of destruction, for you, it's not a bad thing. Wang Feng didn't quite understand Dong Huangtai's words, but the last words of Dong Huangtai reminded Wang Feng of the last sentence of the prophecy left by this guy, entering the world of reincarnation. However, although Wang Feng didn't quite understand, he didn't continue to ask, because he knew Dong Huangtai's virtues. If he continued to ask, he would be causing trouble for himself. He would only become more confused as he asked. Dong Huangtai's riddle was not anyone can solve it. That. Wang Feng looked up at Qiu Jian and asked worriedly. If you can't wake up. What's this? Qiu Jian directly interrupted Wang Feng's words, then with a Qiang sound, he showed his long sword and said proudly. With this sword, I can face any enemy. After carefully looking at Qiu Jian's expression, Wang Feng finally confirmed that Qiu Jian was really not frustrated at all because he could not awaken, so he finally felt relieved. Regardless of whether Qiu Jian can awaken or not, as long as he doesn't take this as a worry, that's fine. It seems that Qiu Jian has really changed a lot now. The Qiu Jian who lived because of other people's words and opinions is gone forever. Now Qiu Jian has strong self-confidence and pride. As long as he maintaining this attitude, perhaps, as he said, as long as his sword is still there, he can face any enemy. Ha 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 ha. Wang Feng suddenly laughed loudly. Let's go. Let's continue. I seem to have discovered something in front. Let's go take a look together. Walk. Qiu Jian's answer was quite simple, and he directly opened the way. Well, I mean, we'd better go this way. Wang Feng was stunned, then pointed to the direction of the big tree that he found that went straight into the sky, and said in a low voice. Eh. Qiu Jian looked back, then turned around awkwardly and walked in the direction pointed by Wang Feng. He. You're still young. You're pretending to be cool, aren't you? Wang Feng muttered to himself, then launched the wind, turned around in the previous battlefield, collected the bodies of some monsters that didn't seem to die so fragmented, and then, with Rura, chased in the direction Qiu Jian left. This time, the two people's journey lasted for a full month and a half, because although the tree was not very far away from them, the monsters on the road required them to stop and kill constantly, so there was no way to maintain full speed. However, Wang Feng would ask Duanlei about the situation every day. As time went by, Duanlei's progress was not slow. He had already advanced to the advanced area. Their entry into the advanced area meant that all the monsters in the low-level area had been cleared. And Fuxi had now flown the Yanhuang to the intersection of the low-level area and the advanced area, and moved all their camps there. When Fuxi moved the Yanhuang, because the Yanhuang was too large, Duanlei and his men were afraid that they would encounter a restricted air zone after flying over the jungle. Therefore, they simply ordered a road to be opened in the jungle, and all the trees and vegetation along the way were cut down. Anyway, they needed some firewood for barbecue every day, especially here, and no one would come back to blame them for cutting down trees and destroying the ecology. Afterwards, Fuxi drove the Yanhuang directly to the border of the advanced area close to the ground, which meant that they had expanded the safe zone to the border of the advanced area. However, This safe zone is not absolutely safe, especially after seeing the strength of the monsters in the advanced area, and now there are people awakening and needing to fall asleep. Therefore, Du Enlai still cleared a large area of space around the Yanhuang, and left a special person to guard, so that once a monster that escaped the net appeared, they could immediately find it and go to kill it. Lu Feng had already completed the awakening, and his hair became as long as Wang Feng's. Now this guy is practicing how to operate a small fighter every day. The only flaw is that because of the existence of the restricted air zone, he can't fully exert the performance of the small fighter. Moreover, after awakening the ability of his hair, this guy was not able to fly by his own body like Wang Feng. In this regard, Fuxi explained that in the ancient human race, only some powerful people could fly, at least, they needed to reach the strength of level 9 creatures. After getting Fuxi's explanation, Lu Feng originally wanted to enter the jungle to kill and improve his strength. However, under Du Enlai's suggestion, he still practiced how to control a small fighter first. No one knows how many monsters there are in this jungle and how many soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force can awaken. Therefore, Du Enlai thinks that it is better to let everyone complete the awakening first, and then find a way to improve their strength. Although Du Enlai's method is a bit conservative, it is indeed a very smart method. What's the use of one person being able to fly? It is definitely not as shocking as a group of fighters suddenly appearing. Because of Du Enlai's suggestion, all the guys who have awakened were sent to practice driving small fighters. Fortunately, Fuxi is there, so Wang Feng doesn't have to worry about it. Now there are more than 18,000 people in the Hope Expeditionary Force who have successfully completed the awakening, which is close to 2/10 of the total. However, this awakening does not seem to have much to do with people's strength. At least, many soldiers have awakened, and among the core figures, there are still more than half who have not completed the awakening. Among these people, Du Enlai and Lu Wanting are the absolute core. Du Enlai has too many things to do, while Lu Wanting may be because of her mood. After entering the ancient passage, Lu Wanting separated from Wang Feng again. Although Lu Wanting also knew that Wang Feng did this for the entire Hope Expeditionary Force, she was still a girl in her 20s after all, and she always felt a little awkward in her heart. But after seeing the people around her awaken one after another, Lu Wanting finally let go of everything and began to kill desperately. Although Wang Feng was powerful, she, Lu Wanting, definitely didn't want to be a vase. And Wang Feng and his men, on the way to the target in the jungle, while fighting continuously, also met two acquaintances. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 850. The two people they met were Xiao Wu and Number 7. These two guys got together at some point, and they were actually walking in the same direction as Wang Feng and the others. When Wang Feng and Qiu Jian were fighting a group of monsters, these two guys suddenly appeared, chopping vegetables and melons, helping Wang Feng and the others to kill all the monsters. Moreover, after Wang Feng spent more than a month in the high-level area, his strength has also achieved a breakthrough. Now he has reached the peak of 8th level creatures and is about to enter the ranks of 9th level creatures. This makes Wang Feng look forward to how far this cat can grow in the end. At least, Rura is now bigger than the white tiger. Wang Feng even rides on Rura's back every day. Get on your way. At the same time, Wang Feng also asked about the situation of the mutated willow trees and mutated bees, and learned that when they moved their positions, they also moved the two creatures brought by Wang Feng to new positions. Moreover, the willow tree has now become the main defense force of their position. All the awakened warriors completed their awakening under the shade of the willow tree. As for the mutated bees, they are no longer what they used to be. If they were placed on Atlantis, it is estimated that any bee could single out a falcon. And it is as big as a goat. However, after these guys got bigger, they also caused trouble to the Hope Expeditionary Force, because when these ghosts flew up, they made so much noise. Therefore, Many of the tents outside have been withdrawn, because if you want to sleep, you must be in the Yanhuang, so that you can't hear the buzzing of bees. Some people even speculate that the reason why those guys wake up so quickly, only about 10 days, is because these mutant bees are too noisy. No matter what, everything is going well for both Duan Lei and Wang Feng, and they are developing in a good direction. Not only has no one died, but all of them have gained strength. This is undoubtedly it gave them greater confidence in their journey to the original star. Therefore, Wang Feng ignored Duan Lei and the others, because after entering the advanced area, their progress was very slow. One was because the strength and number of monsters had increased significantly, and the other was due to the sudden increase in monster strength and quantity. As more and more people awaken, the number of people they can join in the battle will naturally decrease. However, in order to ensure that everyone can successfully awaken, Duan Lei still insists that those who have completed the awakening must all familiarize themselves with small fighter planes, practice air combat formations, and are not allowed to join the battle. Regarding this point, neither Wang Feng nor others, even those soldiers who have not awakened, have no objections. They hope that the expeditionary force will be a whole. Of course, Wang Feng hopes that everyone will have the strongest strength and enter the original star. In particular, the humans of the original star are all ancient humans who have not lost the ability to lose their hair. If there are people who do not have this ability among them, they may be discriminated against. Although Wang Feng cannot let his soldiers be wronged, these soldiers, it is impossible to be protected by Wang Feng under his wings forever. In particular, the people who followed Wang Feng into this place were all the elite among the elite. They also had their own pride. Of course, they would not be willing to hold back the Hope Expeditionary Force at any time. Therefore, those soldiers who have not awakened fight even more crazily, and even go without rest for days and nights. As long as they can still fight, they will never quit. This crazy performance finally caused the Hope Expeditionary Force to begin to suffer real casualties. One soldier, in the midst of the crazy killing, was too aggressive and fell into the siege of monsters. The other two soldiers in his group, of course I won't back off. After raising the alarm, the two of them followed the intruding soldier and fought in. As a result, the three of them stayed there together. Looking at the three corpses in front of him, Duan Lei was silent for a long time. He understood the mood of these soldiers, but he was unwilling to accept such a result. If he encountered an irresistible enemy, as a commander, no matter how big the sacrifice, even if it was the loss of all, Duan Lei can accept the annihilation of his army, because this is a gap in strength that no one can change. But now these three people died of themselves. It can be said that they are proud, or they can be said to be eager for quick success. Duan Lei couldn't blame them, because they also wanted to do their best for the Hope Expeditionary Force, but they chose a wrong method. At this time, all the members of the Hope Expeditionary Force, who had not entered the jungle alone, were all concentrated here, including the awakened Lu Feng and the others. After thinking for a long time, Duan Lei bowed deeply to the three corpses, stood up again, and saluted a military salute. Then, he turned around and boarded the Yanhuang. After a while, the Yanhuang's loudspeaker Duan Lei's voice came out from the device. Brothers! Today is the first time since our expeditionary force entered this ancient secret realm that a brother has left us. The three major visions outside have not caused us to lose anyone, and here, we all feel very safe. Jungle, we lost 3 brothers. Duan Lei's voice was a little heavy. This should not have happened, because we have a base here and an invisible border. If we feel something is wrong, we will retreat and nothing will happen. This is also the case for us. In the past 2 months since entering here, we have not lost a single person. The biggest reason, brother. And today, why did these 3 brothers leave us? Because they were a little anxious. I understand them, and I understand all those who still have not completed their awakening. Because I myself have not awakened yet, and there are many who were originally core members who have not awakened yet. Among them, there is also your sister-in-law, Lu Wanting. I know that the three brothers who left us felt that they were useless, that they were holding back the Hope Expeditionary Force, and that they seemed to be much worse than the other brothers. They might even feel that it will become a burden in the future. I don't blame these three brothers. On the contrary, I want to apologize to them. In fact, I have noticed your emotions a long time ago, but I did not remind you because I thought that after we have gone through so many times together, from now on, you can figure it out in your mind. But I was wrong. At least one of these three brothers didn't understand it. Therefore, here, I want to solemnly apologize to these three brothers and to everyone. I'm sorry. Duan Lei's words made everyone look at each other, but no one commented. They were all quietly waiting for Duan Lei's next words. Do you know how long Madman and I have been studying the list of people to enter this ancient secret realm? What are our criteria for selecting people? Duan Lei's voice soon sounded again. We don't just select whoever has high strength or who is not afraid of death. When we first established the base, we have always used a principle: go wherever you are suitable. Everyone knows the big guy, right? It's Lu Qiang. Both Madman and I are used to calling him Big Guy. This guy can be said to be the veteran of the Hope Base, one of the absolute core. His reputation in the Hope Base is not even lower than mine. Especially his popularity is definitely better than that of Madman and I. Since he is the absolute core character, why didn't he enter the original secret realm? Is he afraid of death? When he met the Madman for the first time, he was almost bitten to death by zombies in order to save the Madman, and in the Battle of Black Dragon Bridge, he was almost killed by zombies. If it weren't for the big guy, we might not have a Hope Base, and that mutated zombie could wipe out our entire army. He is not afraid of death, and he is a core member. He is also someone that both Madman and I absolutely trust. Why did he stay on the home planet in the end? In the Hope Empire? Because that guy is not ruthless enough. He is suitable for management but not suitable for fighting. Therefore, he did not enter here with us, including my wife Shen Yishan. I dare to leave her on the home planet, which means that the Madman and I, in fact, I am confident that after taking you to the original star, I can take you back to your home star. This trip to our original star is just our first trip to the Empire, but we don't intend to treat it as the last one. Therefore, the people we brought are all real warriors. We feel that you can help us, follow us, enter the original star, and then return to the mother star. What is a warrior? At any time. You will never be defeated. At any time. You will never lose faith. At any time. You will believe in yourself. Believe in your brothers. I don't know, brothers who have not awakened, why are you anxious? Do you have no confidence in your own strength? Or do you have no confidence in our expeditionary force? I have not awakened yet, but I am not in a hurry, because I know that before entering before Primordial Star, I will definitely be able to complete the awakening because I have so many brothers helping me. Brothers, I don't want to say too much. I just want to tell you that if you fall into siege because of your impatience, first, you will kill yourself. Second, you will kill your comrades in the same group. Third, you will kill your comrades. 3. You will cause our Hope Expeditionary Force to lose combat power. I don't care what you think of yourself, whether you are my brother, a soldier of the Hope Expeditionary Force, or a member of the human race, you must remember, no matter who it is for you, you must live, have fighting power. After Duan Lei said this, he turned off the communicator. All the soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force present stood around the Yanhuang for a long time before they dispersed. However, there seemed to be a glimmer of light in their eyes. Enlightenment. At this time, Wang Feng and the others had arrived at their destination, looking up at the tree in front of them, dumbfounded.